Ahoy hoy and welcome to the Superhero Hub. I'm Sam,
I'm Matt.
and today we're going to be opening up, you guessed it, the Superhero Files. Tell them what page we're turning to today.
Venom.
Yeah, everyone's favourite Venom. Obviously you can remember it's a main staple of Bane's character in DC Comics. Oh, wrong page.
Wow.
I'm only messing. Right, Venom. First appearance as the alien costume in Amazing Spider-Man issue 252 or 252 in May 1984. First classed as Venom was in the Amazing Spider-Man issue 300 in May 1988. Right, now this character was originally a supervillain and now is more classed as a...
Anti-hero.
Oh, you just went real fuzzy there. But yeah, anti-hero. Venom is a symbiote slash a sentient alien in liquid form, and as any symbiote slash parasite, it requires a human host, and in bonding imbues enhanced powers and ability, and when bonding both life forms are classed as Venom, i.e. there is no Eddie Brock, there is only Venom. So one of them ones, yeah?
Yeah, nailed it.
Now, his first host is Spider-Man, as maybe not many people know, and then he goes on to Eddie Brock. Now, this is a fun tidbit fact. According to S.H.I.E.L.D., it is considered as one of the greatest threats to humanity, alongside Magneto, whoever that is, Doctor Doom and Red Skull. You may have heard of some of them. Right, originally, see, this is one of them cool things, originally created, the black suit was created as a little competition by Marvel to implement a new suit for Spider-Man, and apparently it was too mind-boggling for them to think, I know, let's change your suit to, I don't know, black and white. Apparently they needed someone to do that for them, so it's created by Randy Schueller, who created the black suit Spider-Man, and Marvel purchased the idea for the princely sum of $220. It was modified by Mike Zeck to become the symbiote costume, and then John Byrne had ideas for a costume to be made out of self-healing biological matter to explain how the costume magically repairs itself after every issue, considering heavy damage when Spider-Man slapped around. Roger Stern utilised it as an alien costume for Spider-Man, but then left Marvel Comics, and Tom DeFalco and Ron Frenz established it as a sentient alien and made it vulnerable to sonic and high frequency sonic attacks. Hosts over the comic book years have been Anne Wayin, Patricia Robertson, Angelo Fortunato, Matt Gargan, who you know as the Scorpion, Flash Thompson, and Lee Price. Now, if you want to give the people a little rundown.
Well, so Spider-Man got the costume in the Secret Wars, which was this big space intergalactic thing. I think that's why a lot of people, what they're going to do with this new Venom movie is up in the air, but I think that's what a lot of people were thinking. Maybe he would get it during the whole Thanos thing. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. But eventually, when he separated himself from the costume, it attached itself to Eddie Brock. Eddie Brock is still, I think in most people's mind, Venom. And when they think of who Venom is, that's him. He was incredibly popular in the 90s. Massively popular. Arguably, Spider-Man's probably the most popular villain in that time. He's not, some have been suggesting that he's Spider-Man's archenemy. Not really. That's going to be
Green
Goblin. Or in some people's opinion, Doc Ock, but it's certainly not. It's between them two. But he was incredibly popular to an extent, like Cable was, and like Wolverine was before. So he became an anti-hero. and then eventually they took the costume away from Brock for some reason. And I remember attaching to Angelo, and the thing with the costume is the costume always really wants its way back to Spider-Man, but Spider-Man will never have it back. In the same way, the Carnage symbiote, which came from Venom, will always work its way back to Cletus Cassidy. They are one. The symbiote always wants Spider-Man and will essentially abandon anyone else when it feels like it. So Angelo, the Italian guy, ditched him as he was just jumping across a roof and he fell to his death. Right, so then it attached itself to Matt Gargan. Now in the Matt Gargan days, he went back to being a full-on villain, unlike with Eddie Brock towards the end, where, if I remember rightly, he even turned into like a cannibal, started eating people and became very monstrous.
Yes, there was a storyline where he had tendencies to eat people's brains,
Right.
which is a little-known fact. But yeah, that's pretty cool.
So it was with Scorpion, Matt Gargan, for a long while, and then they did another revamp where they wanted to rework Venom into being an anti-hero again, but instead of putting him with Eddie Brock, they put him with Flash Thompson. Flash Thompson, who would come back from fighting in, I think, Iraq, and he was not paralyzed. He was paraplegic. Yeah, both his legs amputated, and so the costume attaches to him. He becomes Agent Venom and was working for the government, and eventually joined the Guardians of the Galaxy, and was a secret Avenger. But now it's gone from Flash Thompson to this new guy, and I haven't read any of that. But Eddie Brock himself has kind of lingered in the background. He got cancer at one point. I think they worked in the story that maybe he got it from the suit.
Yeah, the suit abandoned him then as well when he had cancer.
Yeah, he was weak.
Yeah.
And they created anti-Venom, and there was Poison, and obviously there's Carnage. There's been lots of spin-offs of Venom. And the more they shifted Venom towards being an anti-hero, they wanted him to be villainous again. So that's why they create Carnage, who is basically kind of the Joker. And the movie now, because it's moved from host to host, we don't really know who it's going to be. I would assume it's going to be Eddie Brock, but I have no idea. But do you want to tell them about some of the powers?
Yeah. Right, so some cool facts here. The symbiote has shape-shifting abilities and can produce spikes and tendrils. It can also expand its size to whatever it needs to be. It can mimic the appearance of other humanoids. It can alter the coloration to become invisible or very have low visibility. It has dimensional aperture that allows its host to carry items without adding mass to the costume. It exhibits telepathic abilities primarily to communicate with his host. Because of its contact with Spider-Man, the symbiote grants additional hosts that hero's powers, and it cannot be detected by spider sense. It can also produce self-produced webbing similar to Spider-Man's. It's got immunity to supernatural powers such as the Penance Stare Ghost Rider. With all its force, Venom can lift 13 tons and also can replicate himself, of which he did to combat his loneliness, so he could create another kind of Venom thing. Vulnerabilities to some sonic waves, high frequency, and fire. While it can sense and track its offspring, Carnage learned how to block this ability, so it couldn't detect him, akin to obviously Spider-Man not being able to sense Venom with his spider sense. Now, a fun fact: in Deadpool's Secret Wars, it's revealed that Deadpool wore the costume before Spider-Man in the original Secret Wars, and it hinted that the symbiote's aggressive nature may be a result of bonding with Deadpool, driving it insane. So that's a very, very tidbit fact there that many people may not know. Whether that's canonical is a different matter.
It's an Easter egg, it's a fun little retcon. Don't worry about it too much.
Yeah, so that is, unless there's anything you'd like to add.
Not really. Just basically, for Venom is something in a long line of comic book villains, which is like a mirror reflection of the hero. Like Superman has Zod, and there's plenty of them around. Wolverine, a Sabretooth, blah blah blah. It's someone who's kind of similar to Kim, and you can fight him in the movie. Now, the movie Spider-Man 3 is an interesting one because in some ways it nailed Venom, in some ways it just missed the boat completely.
My issue was when it bonded with Eddie Brock, it still kept like Eddie Brock's mass, so it just looked like literally like a thin Spider-Man in a black suit. It would have been way better if they bulked him up. He would have looked a lot more menacing then.
Right, and again, I think the problem with Venom, that movie, really isn't Venom; it's Eddie Brock, which is more. I think they took it to the extreme, which was it's the mirror image of Peter Parker. What they do for the film, I don't know. Do you have any ideas?
Well, I mean, if they introduce Flash Thompson in Spider-Man Homecoming, and they decide to take that person and have them turn into Venom.
The thing is, from what we're hearing, it's not connected to Spider-Man Homecoming or the MCU.
That's the kind of issue, yeah, because I think there are reports that it wanted to span its own kind of universe. So I mean, what kind of issues that's going to have when the contract with the MCU Spider-Man, that kind of falls apart.
Yeah, which ends after
Homecoming
Spider-Man 2, yeah, whatever it's called.
Yeah, so when that kind of falls apart and is kind of with Sony Pictures, whether they're gonna, maybe it's one of them things where they're gonna have a kind of slightly older Venom, and in the time period from Spider-Man Homecoming to the second one, to him kind of out of the contract with Marvel Studios, whether that's going to be the perfect time to introduce kind of Spider-Man into the kind of Venom universe.
Maybe, because it's not like Eddie Brock and Peter Parker are the same age, really. I think if I remember right, Eddie Brock's a bit older, so possibly. Yeah. Would he be working at the Daily Bugle? Again, if it's Flash Thompson, how's that going to work? Are you going to do an Agent Venom movie? Who's going to be the villain? Is it Carnage? I don't know.
So there's a lot kind of in the air in terms of cinematic portrayal at the moment. I just hope they give him the kind of imposing, bulky Venom look as opposed to the kind of wussy look from that. I mean, it works with Carnage because Carnage is kind of thin, you know what I mean? But Venom's like big and bulky.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think they missed the boat on that one. So that is the superhero files on Venom. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and we will be opening the files up soon to another page. I'm Sam.
I'm Matt.
And this has been the Superhero Hub. See you in the next episode.